welcome. You are watching World Business Report here on News9 Live. I am Krishna Kumar. We begin with the big news coming in from America's central bank, the U.S. Federal Reserve. U.S. Fed Chair Jerome Powell's statements have suggested that the trajectory of interest rate hikes has possibly reached its zenith. He literally said rates are at or near the peak and that we are prepared to tighten policy further if appropriate. But the fact of the matter is that the commentary coming in from the U.S. Fed chair suggests that we might have reached the end of the rate hike cycle and that possibly there is a rate cut coming very soon.
Stocks rallied Wednesday, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average hitting a record high after the Federal Reserve signaled lower borrowing costs are coming in 2024. The index surged mid-afternoon as the Fed issued its final policy decision of the year, and Chair Jerome Powell said the central bank is not likely to hike interest rates further. The Dow, S&P 500, and Nasdaq jumped about 1.4% each, with the Dow closing above the 37,000 mark to notch its first record high close since January of 2022. The Fed held interest rates steady following a two-day meeting and indicated it sees rate cuts coming in 2024, something that pleased markets, according to Carol Schleif, Chief Investment Officer of BMO Family Office.
Markets have clearly expected that to start in the spring. We're not necessarily sure it'll start that soon, but at least directionally, the Fed has signaled that the next move, whether it's in the spring or early summer or late summer, that next move is most likely downward and not upward again. And so that's what markets are responding to, that directionally the Fed seems to be aligning with where markets had presumed they were going to go.
Stocks on the move included Pfizer, which fell 7% after the drug maker forecast 2024 revenue below Wall Street expectations. It dropped to a 10-year low during the trading session.
Now, as a Generation AI increasingly influences the legal landscape, the intersection of artificial intelligence and law continues to evolve, prompting considerations about adapting legal framework to these technological advancements. More details in this report.
From a big deal in Brussels to how McDonald's thinks bots can help it make better burgers. This is Generation AI. After days of haggling, the EU reached a deal on how to regulate AI, including how governments use the technology. That makes the bloc the first major world power to move towards enacting rules on the tech. European Commissioner Thierry Breton thinks others will follow Europe's lead.
Europe has positioned itself as a pioneer, understanding the importance of its role as a global standard setter.
Alphabet shares soared after it launched Gemini, a new AI model that could help it close the gap with ChatGPT. The Google parent firm was long considered a leader in the sector, but lost that title when OpenAI's chatbot took the tech landscape by storm. Elon Musk's xAI has started rolling out its new Grok chatbot to some subscribers on X, his social network. The billionaire wants it to be an alternative to rival products made by big tech, which he says are riddled with censorship. McDonald's is using AI to keep a closer eye on its restaurants. The burger chain has partnered with Google Cloud to deploy the tech. It hopes AI will let it see what's going on in each store and help find cost savings. And chip giant AMD says the market for its AI processors will grow to $45 billion this year, with more to come. It says the market for such silicon could be close to 10 times that amount by 2027. The forecast came as AMD launched new chips meant to help it catch market leader Nvidia.
Now, concerns surrounding Autopilot functionality has prompted Tesla to issue a massive sweeping recall of nearly all of its cars in the US, nearly 2 million vehicles, highlighting the criticality of safety measures in autonomous driving systems.
Tesla is recalling just over 2 million vehicles in the United States. It's to install new safeguards for vehicles carrying its Autopilot advanced driver assistance system. The electric vehicle giant made the move after a safety regulator said the system was open to foreseeable misuse. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, has investigated Tesla for more than 2 years. It wanted to know whether its vehicles adequately ensured drivers pay attention when using the driver assistance system. Tesla said in the recall filing that Autopilot's software system controls may not be sufficient to prevent driver misuse and could increase the risk of a crash. Tesla's Autopilot is intended to enable cars to steer, accelerate and brake automatically within their lane. Enhanced Autopilot can assist in changing lanes on highways but does not make them autonomous. Tesla said it did not agree with the regulator's analysis but added it would deploy an over-the-air software update. It said this will incorporate additional controls and alerts to those already existing on affected vehicles. The aim is to encourage the driver to stick to their continuous driving responsibility whenever auto steer is engaged. The company did not respond to a question on whether the recall would be performed outside the US. NHTSA opened a probe in 2021 into Autopilot after identifying more than a dozen crashes in which Tesla vehicles hit stationary emergency vehicles. Its investigation into Autopilot will remain open as it monitors Tesla's remedies.
In a stunning legal blow to Google by the makers of the world-famous video game Fortnite, Epic Games, the path for rival app stores on Android may have cleared. However, analysts and legal experts suggest that despite this breakthrough, a prolonged appeals process could stall any imminent changes for years to come.
Epic Games is the company behind the Fortnite video game, and this week it scored a pretty epic win over Google. Analysts say the consequences could play out over years. A California court on Monday ruled that Google's Play Store had operated as an illegal monopoly, crushing competition. Now Epic can submit a court filing on how the problem should be fixed. That could see Google, which denies all wrongdoing, forced to allow rival app stores on its Android operating system. The firm could also be forced to slash the fees it charges on app sales and in-app purchases. It currently takes a cut of every transaction, which experts say is a very profitable business model. Analysts at Wells Fargo say that all puts at risk what they estimate is $10 billion in annual sales for the tech giant. Apple may also face fresh questions over the power of its App Store. Epic lost an earlier case against the iPhone maker, but is asking the Supreme Court to review the case. Consumers and app developers hoping for rapid change could be disappointed though. Epic's case against Google will now go to appeal, and legal experts say the process could take years. One said no verdict was likely before 2025. The next round of the legal battle is set to begin in a San Francisco court in January.
Away from that to the United Kingdom, where the economy is in shrinking mode, and it poses a substantial test for the Bank of England's stance as far as interest rates are concerned. More detail in this report.
Britain's economy shrank in October, raising the risk of a recession. That was what official data showed on Wednesday. Gross domestic product, or GDP, fell by 0.3% from September. Britain's Office for National Statistics said exceptionally wet weather may have had an impact. Britain's huge services sector shrank by 0.2% in October, while manufacturing and construction also contracted. Analysts had expected no change in October's GDP. It was the first time since July that GDP had shrunk on a month-by-month basis. October's performance will likely test the Bank of England's resolve to stick to its tough anti-inflation line. The central bank is currently against cutting interest rates from their 15-year high, and it's widely expected to keep its bank rate at 5.25% in an announcement due on Thursday. Markets also believe it will signal again it isn't close to cutting rates as it tries to ensure Britain's high inflation rate of 4.6% is brought under control. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt have promised to speed up growth, but no big pickup is expected before an election Sunak must call before January 2025.
From the UK to Japan, where Japan's business mood is nearing a peak not seen in nearly 2 years. And that signals a significant uptick in sentiment within the country's economic and financial landscape. And this even as the GDP continues to shrink.
Japan's big automakers are leading a revival in business optimism. A closely watched survey out Wednesday showed confidence at big manufacturers approaching a 2-year high. The Tankan index for those firms rose to plus 12 over the 3 months to December. That was ahead of analyst forecasts and marked a third straight quarter of improvement. Car makers saw some of the sharpest gains as they look forward to a weakening yen and the easing of supply logjams. Sentiment at non-manufacturers also rose. It hit plus 30, improving for a 7th quarter and touching a high not seen since 1991. Economists say the sector is benefiting from pent-up demand following lockdowns and a resurgence in tourism. But the gloomy global outlook could still weigh on the economy, with firms of all kinds expecting conditions to worsen 3 months ahead. The numbers will be closely studied by the Bank of Japan as it mulls how to exit from negative interest rates. Governor Kazuo Ueda has said he won't move until he sees evidence of sustained pay hikes. The Tankan suggested that could be coming, showing firms still feel they face a tight labour market. One economist said there was nothing in the numbers to stop the BOJ acting on rates.
Away from all of that, to Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey's forthcoming portrait installation at the Smithsonian Museum pays tribute to her enduring influence and significant contributions, placing her among many other esteemed personalities honored by the institution.
I could feel inside my being when I was very young, I think as early as 4, when I first started speaking in the church. That's where my broadcasting career began. I could feel that there was something inside me. I could hear that still small voice. And I started to pay attention to it at a very young age. And that still small voice has led me to this day. I have to say, I keep living God's dream for me. And so as I stand here on the eve of my 70th birthday, to have a portrait included in the National Portrait Gallery alongside all the greats, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Abraham Lincoln and Ida B. Wells, Michelle and Barack Obama, Lena Horne, John F. Kennedy, Oprah Winfrey.
From Oprah Winfrey to Zara, or the parent company of the makers of Zara. Let's just move away from that to Lady Gaga. At a recent screening of Maestro, Lady Gaga showed her support for the lead star of Maestro, Bradley Cooper. Take a look.
If summer doesn't sing in you, then nothing sings in you. And if nothing sings in you, then you can't make music. Something she told me.
Hello, I'm Lenny.
Hello, Felicia.
I feel so happy that I'm doing all this with her. That's the truth. I'm so lucky. I mean, we've been by each other's side from the very beginning, and I can't imagine. I texted her last night thanking her I mean, you know, that's the joy of not walking down this road alone.
I mean, that's a lovely thing. It's nice to, but in experiencing this with audiences and going to see people after they've watched the film, that's been something I've never, I haven't felt that kind of response from people. It's just the emotional response from people after the film.
The artistry that went into his appearance at the different stages of our father's life is just unbelievable. What he and Kazuhiro were able to create, and especially old Lenny, sometimes looks so shockingly like our dad that we have these moments of gasping.
Now this one's for all the fans of Zara's clothes. Inditex, the parent company of Zara, has announced some really good holiday sales figures. The company saw a bumper sales seasons and also an indication of the kind of consumer demand at this stage. Take a look at this detailed report.
Inditex is in festive mood. The Zara owner reported Wednesday sales were up 14% over the 6 weeks to December 11th. The Spanish fashion giant said earnings were in line with analyst forecasts and raised its margin outlook for the year. It reported a net profit of just over $4.4 billion for the 9 months to the end of October. Sales in stores and online were up just over a tenth, slower than the near 20% growth of a year earlier. Inditex now sees its profit margin for the year rising, having previously said it would hold steady. That optimism flows from its policy of cutting store numbers and investing in larger, more attractive outlets. The firm is also trying to improve its logistics to deliver online orders faster than rivals. One analyst said the company's gross margin puts profitability up to levels not seen in close to a decade. But Inditex did warn that a stronger euro would trim sales by 4% this year. The results came a day after it was forced to pull a marketing campaign by Zara. There were calls for a boycott after some viewers saw the imagery of statues wrapped in white as evoking corpses in shrouds in Gaza. Inditex shares rose over 1% in the first hour of trade following the results.
On to Lucia Day, which is a time-honored tradition in Denmark. In Denmark's capital, Copenhagen, waterways come alive in a luminous spectacle as kayaks adorned with radiant lights celebrate the cherished tradition of Lucia Day, illuminating the city of Copenhagen's already scenic landscapes. Take a look at this.
Jeg kan huske sidste år, da jeg kom hjem, jeg var ikke til at få varme igen.
keeping it with the festive spirit. Vibrant and diverse Christmas tree exhibits are celebrating holidays traditions across the world. Take a look at some of the best Christmas trees that have already been put in place all over the globe.
To me, this exhibit is very special because it's not something you would expect a science museum to have, but it actually started during 1942 during the war, where we had communities come to the museum to bring some levity and happiness to the community during that time. The great thing about this exhibition is it really showcases how alike we all are, especially during these times where we might have some differences, but at the end of the day, these trees are a beautiful canvas to show how we all celebrate our traditions around the globe at various times of the year.
And that's all we have time for in this edition of World Business Report. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
With all this gear, you must be wondering if I'm climbing a mountain. Well, let me give you a wider look of this place. This is Asia's largest mountain of shame.
A mountain of waste, almost the height of the Qutub Minar.